Well, all the gang is here. The boys are back. The mailbag is back. We have a lot of things to discuss, including more than one episode of this show this week. Very excited for baseball to be back. We're going to be discussing it in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back to baseball. So happy to have you guys here. Of course, my name is Derek Monty, occasionally known as your mayor, PHNX. This man next to me is the one and only Damon Dog himself, joining me for the return of Mailbag Monday. And of course, we got to give a shout out to Waymo. Waymo is my way of getting around town. I don't need anybody else driving me because I got Waymo taking care of me. You should too.
I used a Waymo for the first time on Friday, Derek. Incredible.
Can I say?
I'm actually not even playing.
Can I say something that makes me sound like a terrible person? I like that the Waymo doesn't talk to me.
That's by far the best part. I was just going to get into that. I don't have to have a conversation with the Waymo.
I'm just saying, the car doesn't have feelings.
I get to pick my own tunes.
Yes, that's great. That's
those two things right
feature.
there, like that's Waymo is far superior.
Right. And if you are in town for spring training and spring camp, use Waymo. Get wherever you're going with Waymo. I'm pumped to be back out at Salt River Fields. Pumped to see the full squad out there today. And most importantly, I'm pumped for this sound. Kevin, inject it into my veins, please. Man, that sound. That's a good sound. Seeing Ketel mash dingers into the center field parking lot and presumably break someone's windshield. I did hear a crash at one point.
I heard a scream.
Yeah, that too. That too. You should watch out if you're out there. That was really cool. Honestly, when I came out from the office, there was an incredibly big group of fans out there. You guys are doing the thing, and the players love it. They appreciate it, and it's just awesome. It's awesome to see so many fans out there. It's awesome to see the full squad back. We were missing one, Geraldo Perdomo, due to a doctor's appointment, according to Torey Lovullo. No other reason. I did see Perdomo out there on day one at pitchers and catchers. Doctor's appointment. Can we not get that taken care of on a different day? I'm not judging the man. I'm just saying, on day one, we need his energy.
I gotta be honest, like that feels like such a non-Jerry move. You told me that, and I was like, he's the captain of this team, and he's missing day one. Day one, Jerry.
Day one. We need
Jerry. We could have rescheduled that doctor's appointment. I mean, you're a professional baseball player.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt that the doctor is going to stick around until 5 p.m. for you today when things are kind of fixed up. Like I don't understand how we couldn't work around this at all.
You need to tell me somebody as wholesome and amazing as Geraldo Perdomo can't get a house call. He can't get special treatment. I mean, if there is somebody I think that deserves special treatment, it's Jerry P. Speaking of which, there were murmurs about maybe a potential extension in the future for Geraldo Perdomo.
I want that injected directly into my veins.
I mean, we talk a lot about Gabby. We talk a lot about, like, obviously Zach Gallen and other guys, right? But I mean, a Geraldo Perdomo extension does feel like it would mean a lot, not just obviously to Jerry, but like to the team. It'd be exciting.
The haters would be sick, Derek.
The haters would be sick.
But his slugging percentage is not nearly good enough to give him that extension. Yeah. Jordan Lawlar is for sure the starting shortstop next year, right, guys?
Yeah. Well, Jordan Lawlar, he is going to be getting some, backup, there. Torey was firm in saying that Geraldo Perdomo is their shortstop.
Yeah, because they
was their shortstop. Is their shortstop. He said that.
He's the lifeblood of the team, Derek.
He is. Speaking of lifeblood, my blood, Drey Jameson, day one, out there beating the other pitchers in a foot race. Why? No reason. There's nothing that comes of it. There's no award attached to it, no accolade. but I saw him run 3 heats and he beat them every time, Damon. The man does not lose at anything. And I can't wait to see Drey Jameson back on a mound. That's something that I think is very underrated for this team going in to 2025. We also have the signing of Kendall Graveman, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And the bullpen just looks great. I mean, there's a lot of positive things to say about this Diamondbacks bullpen. It feels much different than this year than it did last year. I know last year when the team kicked things off, there were a couple of guys with injuries. There were just some, I guess, parts of the roster that weren't going to be available to Torey in one way, shape, or form. Now, I mean, the talk of today was a lot about competition, where there's going to be a lot of competition for the bullpen, for starting pitching, and even for some of those position players as far as, you know, again, not to say that any jobs are on the line, but there's still some roles that kind of need to be figured out. You know, utility infielder role that, you know, the primary function is going to be kind of the backup shortstop there. So that is a role that a guy like Jordan Lawlar might end up being very good for 2025.
Yeah, I'd be pumped to see Jordan Lawlar in that role. I mean, goodbye to our sweet Kevin Newman.
Yeah, man.
He's with the Angels now?
Yeah.
Is that right?
The Angels got everybody.
What a weird...
It was just such a weird offseason for them. I mean, they're trying to do...
the weirdest team ever.
I said this last week. They're trying to do kind of the Royals signing thing a bit, where they like... It's not like they're going out after the top free agents, but they're very active in free agency, trying to kind of like build a new team. And I don't hate what they're doing because I'm familiar with a lot of the players that they went after. They were a lot of players that we talked about, the Diamondbacks, you know, kind of pursuing. Kenley Jansen was another guy that they added.
Yeah,
as well.
We were talking about that last week when that happened, right? Where it was like Kenley Jansen, like I would have loved to have seen the Diamondbacks get in on him. I know he's frustrating at times, and people, you know, there are some people that are not the biggest fans of Kenley Jansen, but he would have been easily the plug and play closer on this team. Kind of everybody else gets to settle into their own roles, and I thought it would have played well for us, but yeah, they'll probably, I mean, let's think about it. They'll probably trade Kevin Newman and Kenley Jansen by the time the trade deadline comes around for extra compensation.
Maybe we get one of them back.
Yeah.
Maybe we get Newman back.
But back to your original point, like Jordan Lawlar in that utility role, you know, with his upside behind, like at the plate, I think that would be, you know, just an incredible, you know, upside for this team. Yeah. I know I already said that, but like it's just the Kevin Newman and Jordan Lawlar's ceilings are completely different, right?
Sure.
So Kevin Newman, while he was very good at getting singles last year, very good at getting on base, he had a good defensive season as well. Maybe Jordan Lawlar isn't able to match that necessarily. I do think that just, you know, what he can provide from an offensive standpoint is just like that would even and Kevin Newman had to step in with injuries to Ketel, injuries to Perdomo.
Right, absolutely.
Now Jordan Lawlar slides into those roles and maybe he develops along the way. So yeah, that could be pretty fun and something to watch for as a Diamondbacks fan in 2025.
And again, we know that Jordan Lawlar can play shortstop, he can play third base, right? So, you know, again, being able to provide that versatility might be key to him winning that role. And I don't know. I mean, again, it's something to remind baseball fans is that if a guy like this does not necessarily end up in that role, the main reason might be because they don't want him riding the bench and not getting a lot of playing time, right? So if they feel like someone else might be a better fit, and that might be who they go to a bit more, which they do have options on that. Mac Daddy 714 said, "Are we sleeping on Blaze this year?" I don't think so. And Torey was asked about the possibility of Blaze getting some time in the outfield. He gave Steve Gilbert, who asked that question, bonus points. He gave him an A++. I was kind of bummed out because I was going to ask that.
You wanted the A++.
I wanted it so bad. I wanted the attaboys so bad.
Especially from Torey. We were talking about this before the show a little bit, Derek. Like Torey is just such dad mode energy all the time.
Yeah.
Like
I need his approval.
100%. Like I've never even spoken to Torey because I don't really go out there. You guys kind of keep me locked up.
Well,
like
that's for
I
good
get
reason.
it. Yeah, I get it.
You see how he acts.
I get him. I'm an emotional guy. You don't want me like hugging Jerry or anything. But that being said, like almost nothing to me in life matters more than Torey like shaking my hand and telling me good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never spoken to the guy once, and it's like I care about that more than like my own
his
father.
Approval.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's his ninth season for Torey as a manager of this team. And again, we talked a little bit about Blaze. Speaking of hugs, I got a hug from Blaze. I also got a hug from Ryan Thompson. He told me that I looked like I was sweating waffles. He also told me that he was mad at me for not inviting him to my Royal Rumble party, and now demands that I have an Elimination Chamber party. So, Kevin, We got to set that up. That's something that we have to do now.
Just 6'8" Ryan Thompson
Yeah,
walking in the door.
That's what I tried to say. My house isn't big enough for that. Like, it's just not. It's not set up for that. I had to add an extra TV just for him to come
I saw Ryan
over.
Thompson at Zips one time.
Yeah, just taking up the whole room.
And I almost walked up to him and was just like, "Hey, I know you don't really know me, but I know you rock with Jesse and Derek hard." And
he does. Yeah. Just go ask him who his favorite pro wrestler is right now, who he thinks is going to win at Mania. He'll tell you. But again, Torey in his 9th season here, talking a bit about his message to the team, at least what he could tell us on his message to the team on day one. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, I think the part that I'll share with you guys is just to take care of today. And and I've been transparent. I think I've said to you guys, have a day one attitude. You have a day one attitude today, and wake up tomorrow and do the exact same thing, and just remain stubborn to our beliefs here. The things that are important to me should be important to them, and the things that are important to them should be important to me. And let's continue to build relationships and grow and learn about one another, because you can't just roll the balls and bats out there. You got to be able to go out and execute. So today was starting that, the start of that process, and I'm really anxious to see where this team goes this year.
I mean, it's day one, right? So obviously it's not going to be a lot of there's not a lot of negativity anywhere. Like Torey said, every single team is doing their bunting drills today. But this team feels different. This team feels exciting. And I mean, again, when you have the new pieces that have been added to this, especially from Torey's perspective, I mean, he talked about it at the press conference introducing Corbin Burns, but like the shock of this team going out there and essentially adding the top free agent pitcher to the roster has to make everyone feel better about it. But this year, the team seems healthy. There's a lot of just encouragement. I mean, everything was very, very happy on day one. And this team, again, very likable team.
The most.
It's just insanely how, like, I shouldn't do this, but I did do this. I said, aw, about like the groups that were together based on, because today they divide them up into hitting groups, right? Mm-hmm. So like Corbin, Alec Thomas, Randall Grichuk, and Jake McCarthy were all together in one group. And when I saw that, I went, aw. And I don't know why. It was like a hiccup or a reaction. Like, I shouldn't do that. I know there are sweet, sweet boys, and I know seeing them all together makes me feel special. They should all be at Happy Jewelers getting new change or something like that, but still, nonetheless,
they are like the most wholesome bunch of all of any sports team, really, that I've paid like super close attention to. Like,
and we're watching them grow up, right? Like we saw a few of them get like engaged and married.
I was about
to
bring that up. You know? I was just about to bring that up, Derek. Like, did you see that Valentine's Day post?
Oh.
It was like 7 engagements from like the off season to now, Kevin.
Yeah.
But on the Diamondbacks, they're just like all the dudes that are like 25 are just getting married for the rest of their life.
Love is in the air.
And like, I'll tell you what, Derek, I believe in every one of those damn marriages.
Yeah.
Those are. I mean, they're. I know all those guys are just too nice.
They're built on a solid foundation of friendship.
100%.
Right. When you build your foundation on friendship, that is what happens.
Real love.
Torey was asked why this team is so likable. We know why, but this is what Torey had to say. This is why this team is so likable.
Yeah, I think this is my 9th year here, right? So I think there's a lot of players that have been here through good times and bad and come out the other end. There were young players that were in the system through the course of those 9 years. And it's just a really good group, and we feel like it's our time to bond and take this to the next level and be able to tell a really good story. So they're likable because they get what it means to be an Arizona Diamondback. They're likable because they connect with everybody inside of the front office, and they're just good kids. We have vetted this thing the best that we can. Not to say that the kids were here before that weren't good, but these are Diamondback players, and the ones that have joined from the outside, I think have done a really good job of filtering that. So they're just likable, and they're just really good kids that care about the right things at the right time.
I mean, we already knew all of this, right? Like I said, this is not new information to us. But of course, they're adorable and likable and the greatest all together. So fun times there. My guy Jake is in here. He said, late but here. Good afternoon, fam. I just got to give a shout out to Jake's wife, Jess, who we got to go watch perform love songs. Speaking of love being in the air, she performed some love songs on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
And she is by far one of the most incredible singers I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. So tell
Shout
Jess,
out.
shout out to Jess. Tell her she did amazing.
Other Jake, Big Jake, Jacob Franklin says Bobby Hurley has had a job longer in AZ than Torey, and that is jarring to think about. Hashtag Bobby forever, Kevin. That's it. Me and Kevin been pushing that for a while. It's a new movement. Hashtag Bobby forever.
You've upset Torey or
Hurley.
Totri over here as much as Totri's haircut upsets me right now. But that's
I do want to comment on what Torey had to say though on that last video. Like I feel like there's something to be said about like when Mike Hazen now they're fully. It takes time for players to go through the process of being in the minor leagues, right?
Sure.
When Mike Hazen and Torey have sat down with these guys that they've now drafted, signed throughout the entire roster, they've been here long enough where these are all their guys.
Yeah.
And clearly they factor in personality fits to what they do because they only draft like Corbin Carrolls and, sign Geraldo Perdomos. And it's like, that's their whole mentality. Let's get guys that just love baseball. This is all they care about. And they're just great dudes. And I think that like, I'll tell you what, I've been a part of some, obviously a much lower level, but I've been a part of some sports teams that were a lot less talented than other teams. And the chemistry was just so good that everybody knew their roles. Everybody wanted to play for one another. Everybody worked hard. And that goes to show over the course of a season.
It can make a big difference.
I think that this Diamondbacks team is like, everything worked against them last year. They lost a ton of close games, right? They blew a lot of games with the bullpen. They had some of the most injuries in the entire league, in the entire sport, like outside of maybe the Dodgers, who had a ton as well.
Sure.
But, they had tons of injuries. They missed playoffs by a game. The vibes are incredible right now. Like, I think that this is gearing up to be almost I would say that, like, there's a ton of expectations on this season. Sometimes it's better to miss playoffs and have that mentality going into the next year of, like, we have to make it this year. That's everything that matters.
Especially when you improved, right?
Yeah.
You won 89 games. It should have been enough. There's so many lessons to be learned from that, right? Like that you can get better than you were and still come up short. That every game, every inning matters. Torey talked about that, right? Like there's no team that knows that now more than the Diamondbacks. The fact that a lot of them still talk about sitting in the clubhouse or sitting at Chase Field together, watching that Braves-Mets game, that doubleheader, and just being sick to their stomach over the result of that and over the fact that because of that, they missed out, right? Like, so.
And you're kidding if you don't think Torey hasn't been pounding that drum the entire offseason.
He is going to pound it all year long.
You remember that Braves-Mets game?
Yeah.
Like just all offseason long, all season long.
They might just like air it in the clubhouse from time to time, just on a loop, just the final parts of it. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot to be said about the way that this team has been assembled and even the additions, right? Josh Naylor. I gained a tremendous amount of respect. I love that he's everybody's favorite psycho on this team already, and everybody's ready to get behind that energy, that emotion that he has. I loved what I heard him say about his parents. I loved the respect that he has for this game, and a lot of his answers were just something that makes you feel very good about the person he is joining this team. Like, yeah, he might have those clips of him headbutting another grown man with a baseball helmet on while he did not have a helmet on.
I'm fired up.
But I am ready to get fired up about that too. But I mean, again, it's character, right? Like I talked about how much I enjoyed listening to things Corbin Burns said, both, at his press conference and in the clubhouse when pitchers and catchers reported. He just seems like a leader. He seems like somebody's vibe, whose vibe is going to fit very much with this locker room. And maybe a guy that's not afraid to take that step forward as a leader, somebody who the rest of the team already respects. And, honestly, like while there are guys like Zach Gallen who've been here for a while, based on his personality, Zach Gallen just doesn't strike me as that kind of guy that even like wants that responsibility. Like he'll help his teammates out and provide them with words of encouragement and things that he might see that they're doing, help them like improve as a player. But he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that really wants to take that step forward and be a leader amongst his peers, right? Whereas Corbin Burns comes in from a couple of clubhouses that he talked about, which were young, filled with younger guys. And now he steps into another one. He's not that old himself, but just as far as experience and accolades and being one of the best pitchers in the league, he has a chance, to kind of be that for this team, right? So you just, you do get the impression that the chemistry of this team is exciting for this year and that they are going to be those things you described, guys that play for each other, guys that play somewhat selflessly. And there's a lot of decisions to be made. Like Torey, talked about that with, Blaze Alexander and how they're going to utilize him this year. And he also talked about a lot of other guys and kind of how exciting it is to have this many weapons, I guess, and this many tough decisions to be made. There are a lot of tough decisions to be made still. One thing that did happen today that got a lot of attention was Gino Groover was potentially injured, but not really injured. A few fans told me that they thought he might have been hit by a ball or had something happen to him. Apparently, he just kind of fell down while fielding, while out there doing defensive drills. Apparently, it was due to lightheadedness. This is what Torey had to say about Gino and the situation.
Yeah, I was actually on that field, and your players are trying to flag down a trainer, so you're holding your breath as you're running out there. So got out there. The trainer did an unbelievable job of asking him questions. Gino was never out of touch with the questioning. He was right there with him the entire time. He was just lightheaded and feeling very, very dizzy. So I think there's a lot of – I don't know that answer. It wasn't overly hot today. He said he'd been hydrating. I asked him if he's been sleeping. He said he's been sleeping great. We don't know, so we're going to uncover that the best that we can. I don't have a diagnosis right now, but you hold your breath, and I think he's going to be okay. But it was a scary moment for us because when your athlete's laying down on the field, you're wondering what's actually happening. And we found out he didn't get hit by a ball, so this was something that was internal. But we'll get him right. We'll get him healthy.
They asked about hydration, and maybe he might have not had enough to eat potentially. It's an exciting day. You kind of busy morning. You got to get out there. You want to be a part of everything. And sometimes, speaking from experience, sometimes you forget to eat. Sometimes I don't take care of myself. And I mean, we as adults sometimes forget to do that. I need someone preparing my meals for me again is really what I need. But we had another question about another guy who wasn't in camp, and that's Min Lin. Of course, we love Min Lin here a lot at this show.
More than anything.
More than most. But there he is right there. There's our guy. Hit that like button while he's here. Unfortunately, he's absent from camp, and it might not be due to a visa issue. Torey clears it up that Min Lin might still be serving his mandatory military time in Taiwan. This is what Torey said about his absence.
Yeah, that's Lin. He still has not arrived in camp. I think it's a little bit more than a visa issue. But nothing alarming. He's from another country where I think he has to serve his country and be there for his country. So before I throw it any further, we'll just leave it at that. And when he gets into town, I'll be able to give you exactly what happened.
Speaking as someone who hosts the show, who at times talks about Min Lin, and when he does possibly gets a majority of the country of Taiwan watching that episode, I need him back, please. Can you please return him to us? I need him on the mound. I need him striking dudes out, and I need video of it so that I can put it on YouTube.
We need to go interview him, put up a YouTube short of it.
He's our corn.
Full disclosure, they've told us here at PHNX, they said, hey guys.
Yeah, you guys get Min Lin back or else. Yeah. Basically what it came down to.
We will cut the show. We need this to be a Min Lin podcast. And Derek and I said, hey, that's what we're here for.
Chris says, on a scale of pavements, how much are we missing Min Lin? A piece of Yoshi's right. It's 5 out of 5 pavements.
Might be 6.
Might be 6 out of 5. But we have more from camp, and we have more on the Diamondbacks signing Kendall Graveman to this team and what his role might end up being here once the season starts. So don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX D-Back Show. Of course, Pure Edibles is an amazing company that I've had the chance, to dabble in, and you should too if you haven't had a chance. It was founded in Arizona. It's available in 130 dispensaries statewide, and their gummies are not covered in sugar like all their competitors. You got to go out and make sure you get something healthy, get something that offers a full listing of the ingredients and the effects listed on the tin. And Pure offers gummies for sleep support, as well as candies with uplifting effects derived with unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD. I wish I could tell you what all this stuff meant, but I do know that based on certain formulas, you can either have the best night's sleep you've ever had, or it can give you, an uplifting mood change. But Pure gummies are designed to be ripped or bit in half, making them easily shareable or easy to dial in your exact dose. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of, again, over 130 dispensaries across Arizona right now. Makes your life better. Also, speaking of making your life better, making sports better, got to check out Bet365 if you haven't done so already. It's never ordinary Bet365, and that's because they make live in-game betting more fun. They pioneered live in-game betting. They also offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. And of course, right now you can get down on the early payout offer where you're a winner if your team goes up by 20 points in the basketball world. That's for college and for NBA. And you'll get an instant payout on straight bets, parlay selections, and those all will be marked as winners. Make sure also check out future bets for baseball. Now is a great time to do so. This man missed out one home run?
Yeah.
One home run shy of Corbin Carroll's future bet that he hit last year. But of course, that's going to be different this year.
Here's what we're on this year, Derek, and I haven't even looked at the odds yet. I know Corbin's home run total is actually a little bit higher than it was last year. It's like kind of around the 30 range. So I think I'll probably stay away from that one. The Arizona Diamondbacks to make the playoffs. That's what I'm on this year. It's going to be around even odds. Yeah. Everyone get in on that Bet365.
There you go. I love it. New customers right now can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet $5. Sign up, use code PHNX365 when you do, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Bonus bets can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Well, I know he wasn't the name that a lot of people were hoping to see the Diamondbacks sign, and maybe they're not done. Maybe they're not done. But the Diamondbacks did add, I guess you could say, veteran reliever Kendall Graveman to their squad. Graveman missed all of 2024 due to a shoulder surgery. I think he had a torn labrum, so missed the 2024 season. Spent 2023 with two teams. I believe it was the Chicago White Sox and the Houston Astros. So had some pretty good numbers. We have to take a look here at his stats from 2023. He had a 3.12 ERA with a 1.312 WHIP, opponent batting average of 215. He had a 23.4% strikeout rate, which was up, 12.8% walk rate, which wasn't great, and also a 1.4 BWAR there. So honestly, a guy here who could fit in great to the bullpen. Really, when you take a look at the signing, I believe they signed him for $1 million, so it's not a very expensive signing. He has a lot of upside based on his past, and I mean, obviously a strong desire to return to baseball considering missing the entire 2024 season. Is he the answer at closer? Probably not, but we don't know. I mean, really, it's not necessarily an arm that when you see what he's done in the past, you immediately, think that he's going to take over that closer role. But it could be another arm for this pen that just helps round things out and allows the Diamondbacks to, perhaps name one of their internal candidates that they already have as that closer. Torey was still kind of, he still didn't want to bring up the closer role, or if he's going to name somebody as the closer, it still feels like there's work to be done from the front office. Like, I still feel like that might be the main reason why this feels more just like an addition to the bullpen and not necessarily that addition that we're looking for them to make.
Yeah, I mean, I like Kendall Graveman. I think he has a decent profile. Obviously, he was hurt last year, and at age 34, you never know if he's going to be able to fully recover from that or not. But correct. I'm going to go back in time a little bit, and yeah, you could say this is a long time ago, but in 2021, he was like elite. Yeah. Elite. Yeah. 1.77 ERA, 5-1, 10 saves, 56 innings pitched, 61 strikeouts, a whip under 1. Yeah. Like, he was awesome in 2021. He was good in 2022, good in 2023, and then didn't play last year. So his last 3 seasons, he's been elite to good. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you can easily, wrap your head around why they made the deal. I think that there's a world in which he's better than some of the other guys that are in this bullpen as of right now. Yeah. And so I think, you improve a little bit, but to your point, like, AJ Puck, I think, is good enough to be the closer, but we've talked about this ad nauseum, right? You want him as that chess piece that you can use in big moments whenever you need him. Hey, we're in a jam. Right. We're going up against Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman in the next, 2 of the next 3 batters.
Right.
Let's get our big lefty in there in the 8th inning, 7th inning and shut them down because that's what, I think that would be the ideal usage of an AJ Puck. So it makes it a little bit interesting. That's why a guy like Kenley Jansen probably would have, been a decent move or trading for a Ryan Hensley or something like that. But, I think I like the pieces in this bullpen for the most part. Like I look at this, Ginkle, Mantiply, Ryan Thompson, Justin Martinez, Ryan Nelson, if he's going to be in the bullpen, has been really good in those role, right? So like the bullpen looks solid as a group, but yeah, you might just need that top dog guy to like step up. And maybe it's J-Mart, man. Maybe it's J-Mart. I think that's the ideal thing for this team is have the guy who's 23 years old, 24 years old, win the job.
Throws 2 of the fastest pitches on the team.
Yeah.
I think, again, it's about maturity with Justin Martinez. It's not about if, it's about when, but I also can see that they don't want to necessarily have a young pitcher that doesn't have that much experience constantly put in those high pressure situations.
Yeah.
Right. We also talked about it. Make sure you go have a pep talk with them first, get out there, get ahead of it. Don't wait until things go off the rails.
That's Jerry's role.
Yeah, send Jerry out there, get the pep talk in early, and don't mess around with this. But
Derek, you didn't have this in the rundown, and I was wondering if you were just maybe trying to like skip over it and pretend like it didn't happen. But Shelby Miller, are we just going to pretend like that's not a thing?
So how electric is Kendall Graveman's entrance music going to be, right? Like, I mean, because we could do like an Undertaker thing with like the gong, or like someone said Gravedigger, like the Gravedigger like truck, Oh, yeah, Shelby Miller back on a minor league deal. I don't know why it gives me nightmares. It just does. But
did you see my tweet where I was like, it's impossible to say who won the Dansby Swanson for Shelby Miller trade at this point?
Who could say? Who can say?
It's the book isn't closed until Shelby Miller's D-backs career is over.
Do you want to know what in his current D-backs career before this season takes place? Shelby Miller in 3 seasons, or more like 2.5, has a negative 1.1 WAR. He has a ERA of 6.35 in 28 starts and 29 games pitched. He's allowed 20 home runs and 62 walks and struck out 109 in that time.
He is like, I see RA here. Let's just move on, Damon. I mean,
tried.
He has absolutely just scarred this fan base.
Absolutely.
It's kind of impressive work from him and big of him to even want to come. I'm shocked by that.
The problem is that isn't this more of an overarching story now that it's just Shelby Miller's story? Like, it's this story of the Diamondbacks not being able to bring in somebody that's been doing awesome and have them continue that same path with them and this team
while trading away the number 1 pick from last year's draft.
It could be free agency. It can be anything. Mark Melancon led the league in saves the season before we picked him up. I could go on, but I'm not going to,
but
because
that's classic Dave Stewart, Tony La Russa ball, as Sean puts in the comments here. Like, there is no world where Mike Hazen and Torey Lovullo would pull off something like that. Man. Could you imagine? Like, they probably told them as they walked through the door, and they like screamed out loud,
Yeah, well, yeah. I do have some good news, at least, and that is that today Derek Hall and Uncle Ken Kendrick were out there to support the team. And Derek Hall today said the Diamondbacks are in the midst of negotiations with unspecified partners to broadcast as many as 15 games over the air in 2025. That's from my guy Jack Summers over at Sports Illustrated. They are going to air some free games. 15? Is that
love it?
Is that enough? I mean, again, especially with a team like the Diamondbacks, right? This is about building a fan base. We kind of know what being on, Channel 3 is done for, or Arizona's family is done for the Suns. Like, even though a lot of people don't want to currently watch those games, but still they're available to you for free. And so will some Diamondbacks games. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to say about the Suns, since you brought it up, someone put it in the chat. I think it was like T.O. put it in the chat, but like when we were talking about the vibes of the D-backs, the Suns and the D-backs, like, could you find 2 more opposite teams when it comes to vibes? That's everything that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So much talent. Vibes are in the gutter.
Yeah.
And that's what leads to the wins. I mean, the team looking like that. But
like, I know nothing about what's going on in there, but if you were to tell me, if Gerald was to tell me that, that things are bad, Like you know from being in there, like, I don't know, there's been times where I was in the Diamondbacks clubhouse and things were bad. Like, you could just tell there's the air is thick and the animosity is there hanging over everybody, and
For
you don't
sure.
know what it's about. But
Yeah.
you know, we had, of course, Archie, when he was here, he talked to us a bit about, you know, certain guys being in the clubhouse and the impact of their attitudes and the way that adding them to this team kind of drove a weird wedge between the team and like being happy, like having good vibes. Like, you know, it's a 162 game season. One thing you can't really do is get down too much on the losses at times. However, like we said earlier, Torey is absolutely going to use last season as an example, probably for the rest of the time as a manager, and maybe even long after he's no longer a manager, maybe just to his grandchildren, he'll use it as an example of not quitting and not giving up, and how much every day going in and giving 100% means, right? But
getting back to the Suns conversation of it, like, or with what Ishbia did, getting the Suns on Easy Family, is, you know, I think that there is something to be said about building this fan base out, right? Like, the Suns have been established here in the Valley since the 70s, and it's why they're the most popular team, right?
They are a team that could have charged for, you know, to watch.
For sure, yeah.
And people would have paid for it.
They are the team out of all the Valley teams,
Sure,
for sure. And the D-backs are, you know, they're the team that's, I know the Cardinals were here first, but I think the D-backs ingratiated themselves more to the community faster.
For sure.
And I think that we're finally seeing, and I was talking about this with someone the other day, we're finally seeing those kids that were D-backs fans from the moment that they grew up get to, you know, being adult age. I am a perfect example of that. Like, my parents took me to games when I was 4 or 5 years old. I mean, even when I was an infant child, but like more so when I was getting into like preschool age, knowing what's happening. But like, I've been around the D-backs my entire life, and now I'm an adult ready to spend money on this team. And I think you're going to see this fan base, just like, you're going to see it just exponentially grow, I believe, as the team continues to be competitive, as people, you know, that are from Arizona and have lived there their whole lives, you know, get to that stage where they can spend money on tickets themselves. Like, I really do think that, like, you're going to see this D-backs fan base grow exponentially, but part of that comes with being competitive every year. And I think that they're in a good spot with that.
I'm just envisioning Dennis taking you out as like a little baby and holding you up like
I told
Simba.
you, I was at the first D-backs playoff game ever.
Yeah.
So for context, I was born August 99. The first D-backs playoff game was October 99.
It's in his blood, folks.
Literally,
it's in his blood. The fire is in his blood.
Like 2 months old in the crowd, just chilling, watching ball.
And I mean, again, you're absolutely right about that. Excuse me. I'm starting to see that. I'm from the generation that did not have baseball here. I'm from the generation that I grew up here in town watching the Braves and the Cubs on their super stations, because that's the only baseball that we could watch here, right? So I specifically remember a time kind of loving baseball and being interested in it, but not really having that team to root for or really care about, right? And so this is different, but it's great to see. And I think that that's something that we're seeing with the Cardinals as well in football here in the Valley, right? But the Suns, they've been around forever, and we'll see. But the Suns, you know, being live on over the air is great. But the Diamondbacks, you know, of course, this could be a big for them. Derek Hall said we've talked to a number of our local stations about a small window that we built in with MLB to have some games over the air. And so we're working on those negotiations right now to see if we could take a package of games, almost like a game of the week, and have those on over-the-air partnership. We're speaking with several right now. We're excited about that opportunity. So everyone else should be too. They have their $99.99 package back, $100. You get to watch Diamondbacks games, all of them, no blackout. So it is separate from the MLB package. It's something you get through the Diamondbacks directly, but they want to get this team out there. They want to, have people watching this team. I was just pumped to see certain guys around the first day, just looking in the condition that they're in. I got to see Jordan Montgomery again today.
Give me some names here. Who's looking good?
I'm going to tell you who's looking good, and it's Randall Grichuk. He looks jacked. He looks ready to go, and he was excited about being back here. And like, again, he's one of those guys that I think was like excellent in his role last year and what he was asked to do. But now that he's back in 2025 without being part of the platoon with Jock Peterson, I think he's going to be asked to do more. Most of his at-bats were actually as an outfielder. He really didn't DH that often, so I think we're going to see him in there more often as a DH. And also, just adding that versatility for Torey to be able to have, you know, a guy in your lineup who is a DH who maybe later on you want to move to the outfield and then maybe fill someone else into that DH role. It's all about versatility for Torey. But man, yeah, Randall Grichuk looked great. All the boys playing dominoes look great. Eduardo Rodriguez, Ketel Marte. That was a game I wanted to get in on really badly. You know, just sit down and play dominoes with the boys.
Why not?
Electric. But
do you know how to play dominoes from the Puerto Rico days?
I do.
Is that when you learned?
Lots of years of my dad screaming at me. The way we played dominoes was like in partners. So you had to you work together with your partner as like a team against the other pair you were playing against, right? So there was a lot of strategy, like a lot of unspoken strategy.
Yeah.
Like if my father looked at me a certain way, like that means he was playing sixes and I needed to help him out in any way that I could. Like that's the way that it works.
Hand signals.
Oh, yeah.
Dominoes is a very like Caribbean thing.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, like I mean, I remember spending a lot of time like at places on the beach that had like set concrete domino tables, and yeah, I mean it was
like
awesome.
I feel like Miami has got to be the domino capital of the United States.
It was electric. We the cruise last year around this time was there was a very very long period of time we spent at a dominoes like park, I guess you could say. Again, just a bunch of tables and stuff. But
I'm gonna keep this as like PG as possible here.
Sure.
But and that's never a good thing to start off with. But when you said Randall Grichuk looked like huge,
jacked,
first thing that popped in my head was like Gonzo level jacked.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Like that.
I didn't say anything,
but it does. You spoke. It's like there's a lot of unspoken.
You
there.
can.
Yes.
Make your inferences wherever you want, but that's just what popped in my head. So I was like, maybe, hopefully, a little less.
Maybe not that jacked, but maybe like almost jacked.
Like 80% that jacked.
Yeah, 80-20. But
yeah,
no, I mean he looked great, and again, so many other guys. Again, we talked to Torey about like guys just being out there at camp early. You know, like you just it feels like they're excited to be about the part of this team, and for good reason, right? I mean, this team is a team that did some special things last year, and you could say that, you know, this season this is a better team, right? I mean, pitching staff wise, it has to be a better team because it was almost one of the worst teams in baseball as far as ERA and such. So a lot of positive things, and again, we'll see how things shake up. A lot of competitions in camp, and that's the most exciting thing right now is to see how these competitions shake out, what they do with their starting rotation, and if there are any more moves to be made, which still feels imminent for sure. But we are going to do the thing we do every Monday, and it feels good to be back. So don't you guys go anywhere. We got all of your answers for all of your questions on the other side of this break. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Don't you go anywhere. Found a great way to relieve aches and pains and also get a very, very good night's sleep. And that's with Cornbread Hemp's CBD products. They offer the first USDA organic CBD gummy in the United States, which is very, very important to so many people out there. And their CBD gummies are the highest quality, full spectrum gummies on the market. My apologies to June Thomas, but we're going to talk more about this stuff because these are great products. And honestly,
she'll get over it.
I mean, maybe try out the wonderful.
She still loves you, Kevin.
Flour only based product here. It's vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free with no artificial flavors or preservatives. Again, we talk about not being covered in sugar. These things come with like a little bit of powder on them to make sure they don't stick, and they are delightful. And again, I fell asleep, I think, faster than I've fallen asleep in a very long time taking a few of these. So make sure to check out Cornbread's 2-minute quiz to get custom recommendations tailored to your needs. That's what I did. I didn't even pick the product. Cornbread Hemp picked it for me, and they got me taken care of with the exact kind of thing I was looking for. So if you are looking to improve stress relief, recovery, and get better sleep, check out what Cornbread has to offer. If you want to try Cornbread, they're offering PHNX listeners 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX and use code PHNX at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX and use code PHNX for 30% off your first order. This is the good life. Well, we talked a little bit about the Waymo, and that is also the good life because I hate driving in traffic. traffic brings out the absolute worst in me. And what I would much rather do is have one of their wonderful autonomous rides take me away, whisk me away while I sit in the back and I do my little Twitter thing and I get on my laptop and I do some work. But I mean, these are Jaguar vehicles, by the way, so good luck finding something as nice as this on other rideshare services. But Waymo conducts 150,000 trips per week across San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix, and they are the first company to serve a fully autonomous ride with no human behind the wheel. In 2015, they have over 40 million miles of real-world driving experience. So check them out. Download the Waymo One app and ride today. Well, of course, you know what day it is, and we are thrilled to be back. You know what we do on this show. Of course, guys, every year is our year, Damon, on this show.
Especially this year.
Especially this year is our year. Every month on this show is Black History Month. Yep. And people think that that's like some sort. No, look, I don't wait for a specific month to celebrate anybody. So every month on this show is Black History Month. Every month on this show is Women's History Month. And specifically every month on this show is Black Women's History Month. Every day is Earth Day. And sometimes it's Passover. But every Monday we go to the mailbag. Kev, let's go to the mailbag.
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox. And then once in a while, there's a letter that makes me go, wow, wow, my mailbox.
Before we get into the mailbag questions, I did have a super chat from our guy, R.A., I think. Mm-hmm. R.A. said, Snakes Alive fam, so pumped for this year. Oh, yeah. Same to you,
that was
sir.
Actually coming out of Jesse.
Yeah. That's our guy. All right, what do we got in the mailbag today, Kevin?
How excited is everyone for this year's ball club? Even national media continues to repeat that the team does not have any serious holes on the roster. Also, Derek, pancakes or waffles?
I don't know if what I had the other day could even be classified as a waffle. They were so soft. They were so much better. I still have nightmares about it. I don't ever want to talk about waffles ever again. No more waffle related questions on this show, please. And the answer is pancakes. Now, then, and forever. More importantly, yeah, I mean, we've seen some clips talking about this team being the team to be the Dodger beaters, which of course that remains to be seen. Yeah. But I mean, if you talk about teams in the National League West, it's hard to think of another team at least giving the Dodgers a run for their money. It's not just that this team's good. This isn't just a scrappy team of young guys. Like, give credit where credit is due. The addition of Corbin Burnes is a big league move. Big league move. Like, understanding the situation, understanding the assignment, even though this team already had 6 starting pitchers. That's a decision that just shows how much they want to win and understanding how important pitching is to achieving that goal, right? They're not going to keep all of these guys, or at least they're not going to keep them in this current, rotation. So that's why that's the biggest question mark in camp, I think, right now, is who's going to be the closer? What are they going to do for their starting rotation, right? Who's going to pitch on opening day? We didn't get a chance to ask Torey that. Usually we harass him with that every single year. But Damon, I mean, overall, it's right? Like, I mean, they went out, they already had a fairly solid team. They did have some losses in Jock Peterson and a few other guys, Kevin Newman, who we talked about. They just did a good job of going out there and improving. Obviously, Christian Walker being one of the biggest losses, right? But they went out, they found, if not somebody that was as good as the person that they were replacing, at least a suitable replacement for them. And also the Corbin Burnes signing that still doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense, but I'm very glad it happened.
I think the Diamondbacks were one of the deepest teams in baseball last season. And it showed over the course that they had tons of injuries. Yeah. And the replacements played fairly well. And that's why the team won 89 games throughout the season. If health, here and there versus, Perdomo getting hurt early in the season, like that cost the team a win here or there. Ketel getting hurt, because Garrett Stubbs is the most despicable man in baseball. That cost the team a couple wins probably. So you look at those situations and like injuries, stacked up, but the depth showed out. I felt like
I agree.
The weakness of last year's team was the ERA, right? I'm looking here at the last year's pitching rankings, and I know that this is like the stat everybody knows, but Rockies, Marlins, White Sox, Diamondbacks. Highest ERAs in baseball.
They don't even need to have the same offense they had last year in order to be a much better team. As long as that stat improves.
Those teams won or lost on average 107 games between the three of them. And then the D-backs won almost 90. So, I mean, you look at that and then you add the best free agent pitcher on the market.
Yeah.
Plus you factor in Gallen contract year,
a healthy
Merrill Kelly
contract year, and a healthy Merrill.
Both of them both got hurt. So, like, if you can, those three, that's one of the better 3-man rotations in all of baseball. Two of those guys had injuries. You didn't have one of them the other, like last season. I think that, you look at this year and you think to yourself, this is one of the deepest teams in baseball. They have, a lot of players top to bottom. They have pitchers, top of the line starting pitchers. I think the only concern that I would really have is, can they match the top of the line elite level players that, say, a Dodgers has?
Yeah.
Because, we look at the Dodgers lineup and they have what, like 5 all-stars in their lineup or whatever?
Easily.
The Diamondbacks, it's Ketel, it's Corbin. And then after that, it's a lot of good players.
Yeah.
Good players, but not elite players like maybe Ketel and Corbin are.
But look at the way
is that gonna stifle the ceiling a little bit? I think that's going to be what's interesting, but certainly the team is one of the deepest teams in baseball.
Didn't mean to cut you off there, but I mean, Kevin Newman, U of A guy, right? Look at the way that we viewed him at the beginning of the season versus how we viewed him at the end, right? Like, he was critical in this team's
for sure
success last year, considering the injuries that they had and how he was able to step in and fill those roles at times, right? That's a guy that we weren't expecting to get nearly that much out of at the beginning of the year. We covered the signing. It was great to have somebody that played ball here in the state come back and be a part of this team. But I don't know if we really understood the value he was going to add. And I mean, again, good for him. He had a great season and he was able to go and get signed by the Angels. But we do have another question that kind of relates to this. Let's get to the next question.
Kevin, your mom works for the post office?
Yeah, she does. Rain, sleet, or snow. That's what they say.
My grandpa's a post office legend, brother.
Hey, let's
stand up.
Let's go.
Who knows?
Worked there for like 50 years.
Who knew that to be the
Why
case?
we love mailbags so damn much.
That is why
we
love
always
mailbags.
find out something new about each other. What do you got? We got the next one from Groundhog Mama.
Yes. Who do you think will get the opening day start, Burns or the Milkman?
Yeah, I love asking Torey this question on day 2 of pitchers and catchers reporting. No, I mean, what do we think? I feel like one, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
And I feel like they don't think it matters. I think it matters more to us.
Yes.
Because it's a definitive answer to who they think is the best pitcher on the team, right? But that's not always the case. It might just be the way that they're structuring their rotation.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think it definitely doesn't matter because it's really just they're gonna get around the same amount of starts if they're both healthy throughout the course of the season, right? But I think Corbin Burns is the better pitcher.
Right.
So I think that automatically I'd say that's probably your starter. But Zach Gallen is the guy who's been in the room for a long time.
Yeah.
And, he's kind of earned, that role to an extent. So I guess I would talk to Corbin Burns on the side if I was Torey. I think Torey's really good with people, and I think he likes this aspect of managing. I think I'd ask Corbin Burns, how much does it matter to you? I'd ask Zach Gallen, how much does it matter to you? And I'd kind of factor in my decision based off of that, because if Zach Gallen was like, I want to be the opening day starter. I've done it, 3 years in a row now or something like that. I might be like, okay, that's you take it. Because we're splitting hairs a little bit. They're both elite pitchers.
He strikes me as a kind of guy too that would mean something to Gallen, and he would allow that to happen, right? Like you said, this could potentially be Zach Gallen's last season with this team. So I would lean towards Gallen just based on
it's so sad.
Like a tradition, right? Like and like honoring what he's done here, right? Not to say it's over, but like for this to potentially be his last season as an Arizona Diamondback, I'm sure a lot of people would like to see him get that start.
It's like you've just told me how many days I have to live left,
right.
And I'm just like, and you're like, take advantage of it, brother. Start checking things off the bucket list.
263 more days.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Start on opening day if you want to.
Yeah. No, I'm with you though. I think that it feels like Corbin Burns would be the call if none of this mattered,
Yeah.
But I think that there's some sentiment to it. I really, they will all tell you, like, once you get through the first 5 games, it doesn't matter anymore. And like the rotation is just kind of wherever anyway. But yeah, Sean, you're right. This took a dark turn. It's my fault, I think. It's more of your fault. I think I just speak in facts, and these are facts, people. All right, what do we got? Next question.
Next question comes to us from our friend Piece of Yoshi, who says, do you still think Jordan Montgomery gets traded, or is it less likely now that workouts have begun?
I mean, God, I think it would really suck to do that to him again 2 years in a row for him not to have like a normal, stable, spring training.
Yeah.
I think that I personally think there's a similar feeling within the organization that I have expressed here, which is the only way for the Jordan Montgomery deal to really work out and not look like an absolute mistake is for him to come here, to spend the second season here now that he, accepted the option, and for him to pitch, for him to shove and go out there and be the pitcher that the team thought they were acquiring last year. And, that I think a lot of people know he can be. He is in tremendous shape. He looks ready to roll. I feel like he took this offseason seriously and personally, and sometimes that's the best motivation. We talk about Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly being in contract years, but so is Jordan Montgomery, right? He wants to increase his value. He would like a multi-year deal after this season. So I think that he's going to be at his best. I think that he's already proven coming into camp in the condition that he's in, that he's trying to be at an elite level and trying to be at his best. I think it's hard because, again, I think if a deal comes around that makes sense for this team, that gets them maybe that elite level closer that they are hoping to get, then I think that they're still going to pull the trigger. I think ultimately at the end of the day, Mike Hazen is going to do what's best for the Diamondbacks and maybe not necessarily what's best for Jordan Montgomery. If a trade were to come down the pipe that was intriguing and he felt like made this team significantly better. I also think that there could be a very good possibility that we see Jordan Montgomery in a Diamondbacks uniform for the entirety of 2025. And I feel like that, again, just based on the fact that, instead of making Ken Kendrick's comments into something that changed him for the worse, I feel like those comments helped change him for the better and make him, want to come out here. Maybe make him want to eat, have someone like Kendrick eat his words a little bit and come out and shove. Maybe, again, it's about his contract. Maybe it's about a lot of things, right? I know Jordan Montgomery was not happy with himself last season. And I think that's the most important thing is that he, definitely wants to be what the Diamondbacks paid for. And it sucks that he's not, you know what I mean? But he had a bad offseason. That's something that I still attribute a lot of, his shape last offseason coming into camp and just the whole, way everything went.
Yeah, it's like it's set up a lot better for him to be successful now. I was laughing because when you said that maybe Ken Kendrick's words made him want to eat, and then you like stopped mid-sentence, and then you picked it back up by saying, make him eat his words.
Yeah.
But at first it was just make him want to eat. And I was like...
we looked at each other because that's exactly where my mind went too.
I was like, I hope it didn't. I hope it made him not want to eat.
No, that's probably a bad place for me to have stopped in the middle of that sentence.
Yeah, but I do think, to answer the question, I think every passing day makes it feel like there's a less and less chance that Jordan Montgomery is traded.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
If you asked me that at the beginning of the offseason, I would have been like, yeah, they're going to find a way to offload him for sure. As they haven't been able to find a deal, I think, they've kind of factored him into the plan of this season. And I mean, I expect him to be a lot better than last year. He was the worst pitcher in the entire sport last year.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be better than last year. I think, he clearly looks like he's in a lot better shape. The offseason did him well, being on a team and not worrying about his contract situation and whatnot. So, I mean, I think Jordan Montgomery will be, I would say, decent this year would be my expectation.
Yeah.
I also don't know what that means because I don't think he's in the starting rotation right now.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely probably seventh man in the rotation right now.
I saw a projected rotation. I think it came from MLB and he was not.
Yeah, I did see that as well. They had fought 5.
Yeah. They didn't have Ryan Nelson in
Ryan Nelson in the bullpen. Yeah. So, and I think Ryan Nelson, based off of what he did last year, he deserves it over Jordan Montgomery.
He really
too.
does.
He really does. If we're going 6 starters or who's the next guy up if someone gets hurt, I think it's Ryan Nelson. So
but it's so exciting to think about Ryan Nelson and his fastball coming out of the bullpen and how that could be another weapon that we're not really thinking about.
If he can just pitch like he did out of the rotation, you have a guy there for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that they would ideally like to trade Jordan Montgomery, but I don't think that it's shaping up for that to be the case. But I do want to say
they're not desperate to. I think that's it, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure that they've had offers, and those offers probably involve them eating more money than Mike Hazen really wants to eat.
For sure, yeah.
Maybe the return isn't there, right? But like, they're not in a position to have to trade him because they are desperate at
they
this
want
point.
something back for him that could help the team.
Right.
They don't want to just take back like the Diamondbacks did when they traded Bronson Arroyo to the Braves, and they were like, we just want to get rid of this contract. Like, that we're willing to give up prospects to make that happen.
Right.
The Diamondbacks want to trade Montgomery for something that would bring back value. But I did want to say real quick, Derek, if you're watching over with our streaming partners, head on over to gophnx.com. Continue. The party's going to continue over there. We got another segment of mailbag questions.
We got more mailbag. We're not done. We're getting all the questions today. But again, we appreciate you guys. We love you on the TV side. And yeah, head on over to gophnx.com right now and catch the rest of the show. We do have another question here from our guy, Michael Rokicki. What do we got, Kev?
What is your bold 2025 D-backs take, boys?
World Series or bust.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
You think if they made the World Series again, you'd be like mad?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, like you mean like, wait, no, what? I wouldn't be mad.
Last time it was a
if
dream
I didn't
season.
make it there. If they didn't make it there.
You're saying World Series, make the World Series or
make
bust.
the World Series or bust.
It's just so tough in baseball.
I know, it really is. Like Torey brought that up today. He was saying like it's like the natural assumption was almost that they were going to be back after.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get back to the World Series. You're going to win it. You got there 1 year. You were close. Baseball doesn't have that.
We
right?
talked about that a lot. That's why I was so sad about how that played out with, blowing game 1, blowing game 5 against the Rangers there, because you never know if this team is ever going to make it back. And you had a real opportunity if you took control of things where you could have won game 1, won game 2, and then won game 5 hypothetically. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's you're a game away from winning the World Series. Like,
I know.
So you don't know if you'll be able to get back. That is a bold take.
I've proven in the past that I'm bad at this, but I'll give a real bold take.
Yeah, you have. The Gabby one was
one was insane. My real bold take here is that the Diamondbacks pitching staff is going to go from bottom 5 to top 5.
Okay, I actually do kind of rock with that.
Like, I think they're going to have the biggest improvement.
There's an avenue there.
Yeah,
there's an avenue there. Connor said it, and it's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, the offense can take a slight step back without Christian Walker, without Jock Peterson.
1,000% if the pitching is better.
Because it was number 1 in the National League at least last year. It might have been number 1 in the whole league.
Right.
I'm kind of forgetting right now, but
maintain it was.
Yeah,
but maintain a top 10 offense
exactly,
and get your pitching middle of the pack. Even 15,
top 10 would be great.
Top 10 would be outstanding.
Yeah, but I'm with you. That would be.
I just think that
absolutely incredible.
I think they're capable of it. I think there's a lot that went into last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had Gilbert Diaz, who was great at times and wasn't. There was a lot of young players that we don't take into consideration that made starts for this team last year just to fill those gaps due to those injuries that we're discussing. So, I mean, the pitching is one of those things that I think not only has to improve, but is going to improve.
I like some of these takes in here. We got Pavin, the new Dodger killer, taking over for Christian Walker.
Yeah.
Got Pavin Smith, 100 RBI, which would be
I love
insane.
I love it. Inject it right into Bread's
That would be
veins.
so good for content, wouldn't it?
It would be so good.
But
what do you got? You got anything crazy?
I don't know if this is crazy. I'll say Josh Naylor hits more home runs than Christian Walker next year.
Whoa! I love it. I love it.
But I don't know that that's that insane. That like they're fairly even. So like I think that like that's kind of like a 50-50 call.
I do love that.
I'm trying to think of something bold.
I mean, you're not going to get the defensive production from Josh Naylor. I did see him out there though, really working on that. I think we're going to see improved defender with Josh Naylor, but offensively, yeah. I mean, we could see him have a better offensive year than Christian Walker over with the Astros. That would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something else.
He's going to murder
more bold.
that short porch over there, though. That's for sure.
I like wasn't Jesse's something about Ketel being an MVP candidate?
Oh, yeah.
And that was like on the money.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That was such a good take last year.
Yeah. And I mean, he probably would have finished what? Maybe even higher if he didn't get injured. Who knows?
How about Corbin Carroll getting in that top 5 MVP race?
Oh,
in the National League.
That's bold.
We're
like
so
that.
back.
I like that.
A little sophomore slump in year 2. Yeah, I think year 3 we see Corbin Carroll become an MVP candidate again.
I like it.
Wasn't Corbin Carroll like the first position player to report back just because?
Because he loves ball so damn much.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe he's gearing up for something big that we don't know about. Maybe he knows something we don't. You know what I mean?
This man once got locked in a high school here locally because he and his mother broke into it so he could get some reps in.
So she could pitch him.
Yeah, so she could pitch to him and he could get some reps in. I think this was like during COVID, perhaps.
Yeah.
So we talk about Josh Naylor being a lunatic. Corbin Carroll's a lunatic about baseball. That's for sure.
For sure,
So.
and that goes into my topic earlier of like, I think he was born in like a Torey Lovullo, Mike Hazen lab.
That's very strong.
Carroll.
Yeah, that's
like,
very. There's
they're
the very.
like they talked to him one time and they're like, "That's it. That's our first round pick.
Yeah,
that's the guy we're picking."
Right.
This guy just loves baseball more than he loves anything in the world.
He's a machine when it comes to that.
I love it. 25-75. Let's do it.
All right, what else we got there, Kev?
Our next mailbag question comes to us from the true Ragnar, who wants to know, aside from the bobbleheads, is there any giveaway you're looking forward to the most this season?
Oh, I love giveaway time. I think we have the list of giveaway items. Do we have that list, Kevin? It's very small.
Yeah,
that's very small.
Like you said pre-show, it is very small.
I'm looking on my computer though, so we can.
But yeah, we do have
hopefully
the
people at
giveaways
home
here.
can see it.
There's a lot of good stuff here. I'm mostly intrigued by there was a jersey to be named later on here, which makes me very suspicious that we're going to, as has been rumored, get that new City Connect jersey, and that will most likely be a giveaway item in regards to the City Connect jersey. I won't lie, I really do like a lot of the shirts, the jersey giveaways, because I feel like they've been producing just some really super high quality jerseys, right? I mean, like,
yeah, they've been solid.
I saw a bunch of fans wearing like the replica Serpientes jerseys out at camp today, and I still think some of those black, the reverse where they were black with beige and the lettering still look better.
Those are incredible.
Yeah.
I wish that they like switched to those halfway through. Here's what I'll say about this promo schedule: take off the fireworks on every single one of these.
We know they're fireworks. This could have been bigger.
We know
this could have been bigger.
Yeah,
there could have been more stuff on here.
We know fireworks happen on Friday nights at home. We know that, and that's awesome. And on July 4th, if there's a game, so be it. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this.
He said no bobbleheads, but like
the Jerry bobblehead, I will be there no matter what.
Bobblehead, and the Corbin Carroll has a Star Wars Night bobblehead where he's a Rebel pilot. I might be there wearing a Rebel pilot helmet myself, just in support of him.
You probably own one of those because you just have an outfit for every
absolutely
occasion.
Own one of those.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
You kind of look like one of the X-Wing guys.
Like my nickname would have been Pork Chop or something like that, right? There's Porkins and then Pork Chop. I don't know, but yeah, definitely like, especially when I have the mustache, you know.
You do
Red
kind of.
8.
You're given you're given X-Wing fighter vibes, but
here's
also,
what I'll say.
A crossbody bag for Mother's Day.
Oh,
that sounds pretty nuts.
Yeah, my wife still loves hers from a few Mother's Day back. It's one of her favorite bags to take to stuff. I need like them to get more creative though. Like, I appreciate Star Wars Night, but we're starting to see teams across the league implement other nights, and I want them to get weird with it. The Reno Aces do a great job of this. They have all sorts of crazy nights. They had like Scooby-Doo night. They had like the Office night.
Take notes from minor league baseball.
Take notes from minor league baseball. Switch it up a little bit. I love Star Wars more than most people. It's literally I was raised on it. It's the history that I was raised on. But
Waffle 5 standing by.
Waffle 5.
What were you gonna say, Kevin?
I was just gonna hop in on the Star Wars thing real quick and say, as someone who hasn't watched any of the Star Wars movies, I don't care about Star Wars. Every team from every league,
they do it.
Does Star Wars stuff, and it's always for the coolest like bobblehead nights. Like I have a St. Louis Blues bobblehead, right? It's a Mandalorian one. I've never watched the damn Mandalorian, but I watch my team and I love the bobblehead. But I'm saying I love.
I'm gonna jump this table right now.
I just can't believe he said I've never watched the Mandalorian.
Do the Star Wars things, but I love the idea of just add more brands, like add more pop culture stuff.
That's
like
what
it's
it
not
comes
just
down to.
Star Wars that deserves a reference, right?
True. Like, you bring up like other teams are doing fun stuff. I always go back to the Haboob Globe.
Oh, that's still one of the greatest items that they ever gave out. Yeah,
Haboob Snow Globe.
Yeah,
Kevin. How awesome is that? Like, find me more creative things like that. I would love it.
Oh, that is so. I'm looking at it right now.
Michael's right.
Fire.
I can't move past the fact that you just said you've never seen Star Wars.
Me and him have
I
fought
tried to watch the first one. It's just not my it's just not my get down. And it's okay. You know, it's just I'm not a sci-fi guy.
See,
okay.
They're doing other nights, but they're just like more of like a promotional ticket thing, and there's probably some more stuff.
Bo, who pretends like he knows nothing about Star Wars as he repeats everything about Star Wars to me. Like, it's kind of weird how Mace Windu's the only guy with a purple lightsaber. And then he's like, but I'm not a Star Wars guy. I'm not a Star Wars guy. I just know everything about it and watch all of it.
It's just to infuriate John. He does it just to infuriate John.
And it works, damn it, because I'm hot.
I'm pissed. I don't listen to him anymore. There's also Women's Night on May 30th. They're copying off of us doing, every month.
That's
is
kind of our
Women's
thing.
History Month.
Whatever.
Hello Kitty on June 29th. Pokemon Go on August 10th, which, by the way, Pokemon Go is doing like a special partnership with MLB this year. This is all for Charles Woodall Pike. They are doing a special Pokemon Go thing where there'll be like special trainers and events going on inside baseball stadiums. So that's also something. And then Stranger Things Night on September 18th.
Pumped for that.
Stranger Things Night?
Absolutely pumped for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not a sci-fi guy though.
But you're pumped for Stranger Things.
Yeah, let's be clear.
Yeah. No, I think in general, like I wouldn't
not a
say
sci-fi guy.
He's gonna be out there dressed like 11.
But I love the show where there's aliens that are conquering the Earth
and upside down and
you do have me there. Okay, that's fine. But I would say like in general, in terms of movies, to be specific, like that's not my get down. That's just not right. It's okay. It's okay. Stranger Things is a hit though. I don't know.
But Star Wars not a hit.
But Star Wars never heard of it. Never seen it. Never seen it. Yeah, no, again, they do add stuff during the season, so that's what I'm curious to see if they do add, because this feels a bit, generic. But again, I think if you're asking me, the high quality replica jerseys are the thing to look out for, because those are winners for sure. And like you said, take the post game fireworks off the schedule.
Yoshi, I was going to Arbok Eakins right away off the bat when we were talking Pokemon D-backs. Those are snake Pokemon, and if you spell Arbok backwards, for me for a second, Cobra, and then Eakins is snake backwards. Oh, they're very creative over at Pokemon.
Well, that's Vipers with SE in front of the. I don't want to don't drag me down into this Pokemon Go snake lore. What else we got, Kevin?
All right, our next question comes from Hanley, who wants to know.
No!
What is
I
the
said
most
no more waffles
questions you could eat in one sitting at Derek?
I learned the other day that answer to that question is 12.
I was asking Kevin before the show, like what qualifies as a sitting, because like typically I'm not sitting at a Waffle House for 12 hours like you just did.
Yeah, see, I ran out of steam around 3. Yeah. That was right. 3 waffles was right around where I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. But then, you kind of get through 4, and then somehow 5 and 6 are okay. And then 7 brings you back to 3, where you start regretting all of your life decisions, every relationship you've ever made, whatever events transpired in a series chronologically that led you to this moment. You just regret all of that. Yeah. Meeting Saul Bookman.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
drafting who can we blame? Travis Kelce.
AJ Green. Oh, well, Travis Kelce, that was definitely that was the start. That was the start of all of my negative karma.
It was that son of a gun Travis Kelce.
That and the way I showed up to the draft, I think, led me down that path too.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was a bad start.
The turtleneck might have been a bit much. The turtleneck might have been a bit aggressive.
The glasses, the chain.
Yeah, with the suit.
I think that maybe that now that we're rehashing that, I think that might have been
these
the
are
problem.
things that I definitely
the ring
regret.
on your pinky that you were walking around.
I was definitely going to wear my championship ring. There was no doubt
you
about
that. You had to though on that one, but yeah, for me, I mean, I'm not like a massive eater. I'm sure that's a shock to everybody.
He's a little guy,
but I think I'm going to say 2 hours is a sitting.
Okay.
I think that's a fair amount of time for a sitting. And I'll say I could probably put down I don't know, 6 waffles if I pushed it. But I would feel like garbage afterwards.
I call your bluff, and I want to see it happen. Is
I
what
would-
I'm saying now. I
Maybe
want to be on the
5. They are
clock.
big. They are big.
Oh,
I don't want to do this for fun.
I had the whole conversation about how they just changed the irons, and they used to be smaller, but now they're bigger, and they got the irons for the Bell Road
Are
one
you
up at
calling
this one.
Totree's Waffle House excursion a Mickey Mouse?
Oh, and
Waffle House?
Saul's.
Is this
And
like a-
Saul's.
is this-
Wow.
Both of them Mickey Mouse. Saul bragging in the chat that he had 13 and saying he had so many more than me. That is one more than me. Saul's equating waffles to dog years, saying like somehow he ate 7 more just because he ate one more. It doesn't make any sense, Saul. And again, it goes back to the thing I said earlier, of regretting meeting you, but that's only because it's your fault that I did that.
How do we properly track the new record holders now? It's
Uh,
like when you
yeah.
added the 3-point line,
Yeah.
now you have to adjust the way that you do the record book.
Right.
So how do we do this? Like,
It's
is
like
Derek's hold
Mega
more
Ran
weight,
says,
less weight? What do we do here?
Megaran says we have to throw out all any stats that happened before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, and I'm with it when it comes to waffles.
Before Waffle House broke the iron barrier?
Before Waffle House started serving thicker waffles, all of the records are thrown out. All right, what else we got, Kev?
Oh, okay. Next question is, are you both drinking enough water today, boys?
That absolutely is a no. I'm not eating enough. I'm not drinking enough.
Derek came in here in a panic and was like, I need to put something in my body. I haven't eaten a calorie
I
today.
ate
And
chips and I didn't want chips at all. I'm not doing a good job of taking care of myself at all. I think maybe it's like with my daughter. Like my daughter kind of is self-sufficient now, right? So like when I made food for her, I also made food for me, or there would be leftovers or whatever. I had to cut the crust off. Sometimes I just ate the crust of the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like being a dad's a hard job. You're basically eat like you're a trash can, basically. You get the leftovers, right? But no, I don't know. I don't know how to take care of myself anymore. I barely kept my devices all charged. Last Wednesday, my phone ran out of battery before I could get to the end of Torey's press conference. So I'm still learning. It's like the guys. I'm still in spring mode. I gotta be able to, get my feet underneath me and figure out when I'm gonna eat and when I'm gonna drink water. But
my answer is also no. I don't know if anybody who watches PHNX Cardinals, you guys would know that me, Bo, and Johnny have, undertaken an abstinence period of sorts. But my abstinence is from being lazy, so I go to the gym every day now. Johnny gave up candy and sweets and refined sugars.
And Bo gave up caffeine.
And Bo gave up caffeine.
I've drank so much caffeine today, Bo.
Yeah, I need a little bit
God.
more caffeine actually. But we started this last Monday with Monday's show last week, and now this has been about a weekend. And the workouts are going good, but I definitely could focus on drinking a little bit more water.
Yeah.
So it's a good reminder, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
We will, or should I say Zabe? We will lock in on that. I haven't used Zabe in a while.
Yeah, it's good to use Zabe. I mean, it's insider jokes, and if you're part of our diehard crew, you would probably know this. You would probably have a nickname if you were part of our diehard crew. We got one more question, then we got to wrap this whole thing up. What do we got there, large intimate Kevin Thomas?
Last but certainly not least, we got if you knew you were going to your last ever game at Chase Field, what would you do differently? Long story short, my parents are moving home to Scotland after 25 years in AZ, and I'll be at the Braves homestand as part of my farewell trip in April.
Oh, that's first of all, it's a bit heartbreaking. I understand though, right? Like sometimes stuff happens in life. It's your last time visiting, and yeah, I mean that's a great question. First, I want to say that we don't always get a chance to know it's our last time visiting something or doing something. So at least you have that. There's the benefit of that you can make it a little special. I think my biggest thing is take lots of pictures of yourself. Take pictures with Baxter, take pictures, around with you and the family. Like make sure you document it because I don't know. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I don't really care about a lot of things when I go on vacations or trips or do special events. I don't need autographs or I don't need necessarily to buy souvenirs all the time. What I like is to get pictures. And I think, honestly, even speaking to players and people around like Chase Field and stuff, I don't know if you're nice and you're respectful. I don't know how many people ever will hate on the idea of you wanting a picture with them. I take pictures with the ushers and stuff at Chase Field because I love them equally as much as I love some of the players and stuff. So
wow, what a just cater to the audience type of call from you there.
What?
Oh, I'm just as big a fans of the ushers and support staff as I am of Ketel Marte and
I talk to them
Carroll.
more. They help me more.
Yeah, they're your friends.
They're good people.
But yeah, I like that idea. Take some pictures. I think get there for batting practice and hang out for batting practice.
Yeah.
Try to see if you can get talk to the players. Maybe bring a sign that's like, we're moving back to We're going back to Scotland. Like,
that's a solid move. Yeah,
because
our last game at Chase Field.
I know
like
D-backs. I think I know we've met him before. Our
yeah,
guy,
absolutely.
He's a really nice dude. We met his family. Like I know he's going to be out there with his kids. So bring a sign with the kids that says something. Try to get some of the players or like Torey or something to come over and maybe just like take a picture or sign some stuff for you guys. I think that could be fun.
I saw that today with the players and Torey and a lot of people. Like they have a lot going on. Torey expressed several times how busy today was, but it was important to Torey. It was important to the players to come over and sign and still spend a few minutes with the fans. And I mean, like, again, and when I say important, like you as fans think that like sometimes they're in a rush or like they're actively talking about when they're not around the fans, they're actively talking about when they're going to go over there. Like, I gotta go say hi to the fans and stuff. Like, it's part of Torey's schedule almost. But
this is why the D-backs community is the best.
I love
community.
it. The lemonade guy.
Because me and you didn't think of that. And both of us now are like, oh my god, it's so true.
Lemonade, grandma made.
You got it. You gotta find him. You gotta take a picture with him. The literal goat.
Yeah.
He is Chase Field.
He is. Eat from Hungry Hill. I know there's no free ads, but eat from Hungry Hill. Like, go get yourself a D-bag dog or something. Yeah. Like, I mean, like I think everything. I think the biggest thing I would suggest is like, I don't know, with me working at Chase Field, it's very easy for me to turn it just into that place that I go to work. And I mean, even some fans that are like season ticket holders, it's like, oh, I got another game. Oh, I got another game. I would say like, do it up big and enjoy the day and make the entire day about it. I like what he said, especially about like maybe getting out there right after batting practice and getting some balls in the left field stands and things like that. Like all of that is special about going out there, but stuff yourself full. That's one thing. Get a churro dog and eat it the way see Groundhog Mama and me, we're on the same path. Get a churro dog, but eat it in the way I've told you for years, which is ask them for the churro on the side. It still doesn't make any sense to me that a piping hot churro would come on top of frozen yogurt. Those two things ruin each other and they make each other less good. And like maybe, I don't know if it's a chemical reaction or what, but wait until you're about to eat it before you add the churro in, or maybe just don't add the churro in at all. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. Eat it on the side. But I hope you have a great time. Hope you guys all have a great time. I think we have 3 more days of camp. I mean, they're still out there when spring training games are going on, but we had someone ask us today if this is free and if anyone can come out. Yes, anyone can come out. The crowd is growing, and it's great to see. You might not get autographs like you once were able to because it's a little competitive, just like the starting rotation, just like the bullpen. There's competition for you fans out there to try to get your autographs.
That's why you got to bring that sign, man.
Got to bring the sign.
Try to get someone's attention. Big letters like last game.
Bring
or something.
A cute child works too.
For sure. Have the kids hold it.
Hold the kids, hold it. Yeah, for sure. These are all things.
Maybe like Scotland in a different material, like a multimedia kind of situation where it's like the Scottish flag says Scotland in there somewhere, so it really pops.
Why you're getting so complicated?
No, because there's a lot of big signs with big text. You want yours to be colorful, stand out a little bit.
Right.
Like
I like it. Last game with like a Scottish flag behind.
Last game playing the Scotland flag.
We're trying.
Do the whole thing. Do it up.
Do it up. Hope you have a great time. Hope you guys all have a wonderful time. Like I said, don't miss the chance to get out there. Games start on Friday, so we will be back to spring training games. That's it. No more weeks without baseball. We have baseball back in our lives, and it's a great time to be alive, especially right here in Phoenix, Arizona. So make sure you get out there, enjoy yourselves. Until then, we'll be back on Wednesday with an update for you guys, and then we will be out at Innings Fest this Friday and Saturday. We would love to see you guys out there. If you're going to be at Innings Fest, make sure to hit us up. If you want to go to Innings Fest, make sure to check out our website at gophnx.com, I think /Innings Fest, and you can enter to win some free tickets. So again, do so right now. There's that. There's Extra Innings Fest. We got all sorts of wonderful stuff going on. Wrestling's in town this week. I'm going to be busy and having the time of my life. So, of course, I'll be taking Waymo everywhere I go, and that's an important part of this. We appreciate you guys stopping by. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at @cap_caveman with a K. This maniac next to me is at Damon Dog, and me and this guy over here, we are Damon Dogs. Bark.
Bark.
That's Large Intimate, Kevin Thomas. You can get him at Kevo Posts on Twitter, but our show is at PHNX_Dbacks. And of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much. We are equally excited for this season. Hope to see some of you guys out there this week and beyond, because baseball is back, baby. Great to have you guys here. We'll see you on Wednesday. Until then, have a wonderful evening and Tuesday. And remember, kids, behave yourselves. And also remember, kids, baseball's fun, but it's so much more fun when Torey Lovullo is telling you why this is such a likable team.
We all silly like the mayor.